Alrighty, it's time for not just Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. So this is one that I personally have not seen myself. Usually it's you getting the reactions for the first time watching
Yeah,
them, and
I had fun going in blind with you. That's pretty
yeah, I mean,
cool.
even this and the next one, because I mean, I know, especially the next one, are considered to be quite terrible. So I guess we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I mean, I have not seen this. But it's from 1990. It's under New Line here, and right off the bat, let's just say that this film, it feels like it just has no real connectivity to the previous two at all. Like
No,
that's
it's
what it
New
seems like.
Line.
I mean, yeah, I mean that's what it seems like with this franchise thus far. I mean, because again, we've seen with other horror franchises, especially like Friday the 13th, where you have certain I mean, in Friday the 13th, you can miss them unless you're like really paying attention, like little details as to like the actual point in time it takes place or whenever the date of this or that happened. But you can still see where like one film left off and where it starts off and where
There's
there's connective
a
tissue.
dot. Yeah,
Yeah, it's still connected.
breadcrumbs.
But in this one, it's just like it feels
There's
like
nothing.
each film is almost like a remake of the previous one. So
Yeah.
it's just kind of like just okay, just take it for what it is.
hmm
Because it's Leatherface. He's with a new like family who are like the Sawyers and or the Slaughters from the previous two movies, but they're not. It's like Viggo Mortensen that we start off, which is like a twist sort of.
Yeah.
He's
See,
one of the bad guys, but it's weird. So you just pretty much just have to throw that all out the damn window and just go with it. I mean, so we start off with yeah. These two young people. Honestly, I don't even remember their names after watching it. But I mean, hey, but for what they were, I'm like, they're fine. Like the one girl, she was actually kind of good,
yeah,
but she didn't
I
have.
liked her good enough.
Yeah, but obviously, I mean, there's not a whole lot of like character development there, so there's
Mm.
not a whole lot to really latch onto. But for what she was, I'm like, okay, she's actually pretty decent. I do like her. It's
hmm
like if they had actually given her a little bit more of like something, but whatever. And so yeah, they're just like off in the middle of nowhere in Texas, whatnot. They go into this gas station, find some whacked out employee that's working there. He's got, I think, probably like a blind eye. It looked like, but
Yeah,
he's just
cataracts, something or other.
real creepo and everything. And then they meet Viggo Mortensen. He seems cool at first and all that stuff.
Yeah,
So it's
thought he was just a regular dude making a pit stop.
yeah. And so they have a little thing there where it's like at one point she goes into the bathroom and then you find that the one dude's like creeping on her stuff, kind of like
Yeah, that
Norman
was
Bates style
gross.
from Psycho and stuff. Uh, so yeah, so they have like a little conflict and stuff. And then next thing you know, they try to escape, and then Vigo's like acting like he's trying to stop them, but they get shot at and everything, even blow out their back one. It's just, it's just like again like little conflicts here. There's not a whole lot to really say.
Hmm.
But yeah, you're just kind of going on. Then it gets to night, and then just issues collide yet again. They run into Ken Forey after they wreck, which is very confusing as to how they shot that.
Mm.
Like I don't know what
Yeah.
happened. It's just like they were both going, I guess, the same direction towards each other,
Well,
and then
I
their
think one
head.
was traveling one way, one was traveling the other, and
Yeah, but then
then
you just
dude was
cut to
in the
like
middle.
headlights and everything,
Yeah, and then
and
one
then one
tried
of
to
them
swerve, and
swerves,
then they swerve into each other and
and then they
not.
crash.
And
And
yeah.
the way they shot that was very flimsy. I don't know
Uh-huh.
what the hell was happening there. But yeah,
No
so
idea.
so they run into Ken Forey and everything, and so he tries to help
He was
out.
good.
Yeah. I mean, Ken Forey, like I said, you've seen him in a bunch of
I mean,
stuff.
yeah, Vigo was good,
He's
obviously.
been in various Rob Zombie films and like
Mm-hmm.
back on in the '90s, Keenan and Kel as the dad on there, which I grew
Mm.
up watching and stuff like that. But yeah, Joe Grizzly in the Halloween remake. I'm Joe's Grizzly, bitch. He's just really good. He's actually
Oh, the dude in the toilet?
that's what I meant. Yeah, you didn't
Oh,
know what I was
okay.
referencing when I would
Yeah,
say
no,
that.
no, no. Because I've only seen it the one time.
I know, but
But
how you forget Joe Grizzly?
the dude in the dude in the toilet.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
because
Because
like I said,
I
he
do
had
like that
done a bunch
movie.
of Rob Zombie movies and other things, but
Mm.
in this movie, he's actually really good. He's actually a very likable character and
Mm.
everything, so you're kind of rooting for him. And then so he also, runs into this one girl that's like kind of on the run. You can tell that she had been through something. She might have been captured or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
And then you get like some Leatherface attacks where he's showing up and everything. It's just like what the hell's going? Because they had run into him earlier and stuff as they were driving, and then like someone threw like a deer body or something out at their car window and everything, and it's
Like
just
a wolf or a coyote or
yeah,
something.
it's just a lot of kind of randomness. It seems like you don't really know where it's
Yeah,
all
it's
going.
kind of messy.
Yeah, and then eventually, I mean, they find the house and everything. She and her friend get captured and all that stuff, and then insanity ensues. So I mean, how did you feel about it? Like as you were kind of like going into it, like how did you feel? Like, did you think like, okay, is this connecting to anything previous or what? You're like, what is happening?
Um, I I wasn't really thinking about anything like that. I was just, watching it just just to see what would happen. Um, yeah, I definitely wasn't thinking about continuity and whatnot. Although it definitely was different than the movie prior,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. Um, yeah, I definitely didn't think that Vigo was gonna be one of the crazies, so that was interesting to see him play that kind of role.
Mm.
And I like the main girl, and I like Ken, and that's. I mean, everyone else did all right. They did what they were supposed to do,
Yeah,
and yeah,
I
and
mean,
that little
cause
girl. I didn't know about that little girl either being in that other movie. So I'm like,
oh
oh, okay.
yeah, she was supposed to be the one at the start of the New Blood, the young version of that one girl who's
Hmm.
telekinetic and all that stuff
Yeah,
like that. So
that's cool.
yeah, and also knowing that too, that Kane Hodder actually did do
The
stunt
stunt
work
work
for yeah,
because of him being on fire.
yep. I
That was
mean,
it.
yeah, exactly. And of course, now we know that he's doing the motion capture for the new Texas Chainsaw video game, like Friday 13th and all that stuff, because it's some
That
of the
was
same people
cool.
involved with that. So we have that coming along, and it's just like because I mean, obviously we're not recording this like right after, and even then, I'm having a hard time really like grasping onto a lot of what happened because it's just kind of like again just you're setting the stage like they're just you got these people they're showing up they run into some shit and then it just goes down. It really is
Yeah,
it's just very like you're
rinse and repeat.
just thrust into the situation. And for what this is, I mean, like as a whole, like as I was watching, I'm like, it's not completely terrible, like it's not bad, it's just
No,
kind of like another type of slasher film, but like I said, it's just following like little bits from the previous movie. Like it's just a remake of the
it's
previous
a new
one.
line formula, just like we saw with the other New Line ones.
Yeah,
It was definitely, you could tell, New Lined. So, I
I
mean,
mean, because
if that's even a thing, but it is
I know
now.
because you'll see this more. Because I know, I mean, I've seen a, a few of the later films and everything, but you'll just know this pattern how this franchise just doesn't have its own footing whatsoever. I mean, as iconic as the character is and the name and everything, it just
That poor guy.
it's an absolute it's like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Leatherface, and just craziness. But the franchise as a whole is one it does not have any real footing with it, and it just like it's constantly resetting itself and just like I don't know where this is all going, and just they're just throwing out films and just kind of just going with whatever friggin' idea they feel like. And
Mm-hmm.
again, this is just one of them where it's not bad. It definitely had a bit of a different feel where it's kind of more
Hmm.
in the middle of between the first one and the second one, where it's not so much like too serious like the first
But it's
one
not
and raw, but it's not like
circus grade
yeah, but
crazy.
yeah, it's not like over the top with some of the stuff from the previous film. So this one strikes more of like a casual bounce of what you would expect from your average Friday the 13th sequel or
Yeah.
Halloween sequel.
Yeah.
And it is kind of dark. It is kind of hard to see a lot of what was going on
Yeah,
during some of
especially
those
the
scenes.
swamp bit.
Yeah, that towards the end was especially kind of confusing. I'm like, it's not like a terrible idea for the climax because I mean because yeah once they're captured and everything, the one guy that she's with, I mean he eventually gets killed and everything, and she's tied up at the table like in the previous films.
Yeah, that was a weird
And then
sequence.
Ken Forey, like I say, comes to the rescue, just starts like just blasting away in the window and
The
just
carpet bombing with bullets.
Yeah, which is pretty badass. And like the whole time, I'm like, again, pretty much from the jump, I'm like, come on, Ken Forey, let's go, let's go, let's go. And then once like he gets her out of the house and everything, because even before that, or after that firefight, he gets into it with Viggo Mortensen,
That was
and that was
pretty
actually a
cool.
pretty cool sequence
Mhm.
there where they're tussling a bit. He gets some oil from thrown on him and stuff. I think it was like from the car or something, like the
Yeah,
truck.
the
It was leaking
gas.
out or stuff,
Yeah.
and so he used a lighter that he got from the one girl that was running away and everything. She eventually dies. She gets killed by Leatherface, and so he'll take the little lighter and just lights his ass on fire. I'm like, okay, that was pretty badass. I'll give you that.
Well, like the trail, and then
Yeah, yeah,
so
for sure. And then leading up to that, they have a little showdown in the swamp and everything with Leatherface, and it does seem pretty apparent that Ken Forey gets it by the end of this.
well,
And
yeah.
then after that, she like beats him in the head with a rock, and then he just kind of falls into the water. It's just like that was it. And then you get this little ending, and then where like it's daytime now, she's out on the road, she gets into the truck or whatever, and then Ken Forey shows up. It's like, oh hey hey hey, I'm alive and shit. It's just like
Yeah, it was really
which, come to find
weird.
out, apparently, like I said, apparently that was a changed ending. Like
Mm.
the director, I guess, didn't want Ken Forey to live on that part. Like that was completely changed, and they just did that. And he saw the movie, he's just like, "What the fuck is this?" Which, yeah, that's a pretty big surprise. But I'll be perfectly honest, I'm actually kind of glad he lived because he was the character to root for. Like again, I like the girl and everything, but I'm like Ken Forey, he's pretty badass in this movie. I actually want to see him get through it. So just on that note, I'm like, I can't be mad at that. I'm glad he lived, even though it was completely evident. It seemed like he pretty much died and got sawed up
Well,
in the
yeah.
water. But fuck it. I mean, you can. It's like I'll take it. And then the one psycho guy from the garage earlier on and stuff, or the gas station. He's like at the back of the truck. He knocks him out for a moment, and then she has a little bit of a mini showdown with him, but she eventually shoots him out the back window of, which again, that was actually pretty badass and showed that she's kind of had enough of this shit, and she's like, yeah, fuck you, I'm gonna shoot you. And again, good little moments there and stuff like that. And on that note, they drive off, and it's just like all well and good. And so yeah, it's just again just random when you coming off the previous two, like just no real connective tissue as to,
Except for
especially
the character of
especially knowing he got
Leatherface.
sawed in the gut previously in the last one, and the family. I'm like, I guess this is his new adoptive family now who just happen to be cannibals. I don't know. Who knows what's going on here? But hey, it is what it is. But as just like it's as a regular slasher film,
It's all
it's kind
right.
of, yeah, it's all right. Like I said, it's not terrible, but it's tolerable and fun enough. Like I said, it's you get just enough good stuff out of the main girl, Viggo Mortensen and Ken Forey, to where I'm like, okay, it adds a little bit of weight to where I can
Yeah,
give it
if
a
it's
little bit
on
more.
TV, I'll leave it on.
Yeah, yeah. So final thoughts on how you felt about this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to just agree. It was good enough. It wasn't. I mean, I liked it better than the last one, but it doesn't really compare to the original. I mean, that's just how I feel about like most everything. It
Yeah,
Nothing's really gonna be better than the original.
no.
Um, but yeah, those three characters kind of carried things along. I mean, Dickhead Boyfriend served his purpose, and yeah, that crazy escaped girl was crazy. Um, Leatherface, yeah, it was an interesting angle on Leatherface this time around,
Yeah, I mean,
for sure.
yeah, and earlier on too, as they're at the house, he gets this big shiny new chrome
That
chainsaw,
was cool.
which is pretty badass. I mean, it's just like, I mean, yeah, I mean, it looked pretty expensive, and it's fucking like this long and shit. It's like it's
Yeah,
crazy, but
it was cool.
yeah,
But yeah, it was pretty
I mean, that's the
good.
thing with this is like, I mean, you don't expect most sequels to be better than the original. I mean, it happens, and but you're really just asking for just like if you're going to continue a story, just competent sequels that blend well together and just help expand things and just have fun with.
Mm-hmm.
But in this one in particular, I'm like, I've never had like more struggle just trying to actually like review a franchise and understand each sequel thus
Mm-hmm.
far, because again, it's just the concept and just the way it's like, again, Friday 13th is
You go
very
into it and it's
simple.
like its own movie.
Yeah, and again, like I said, Friday 13th is very simple. Like, especially within those first couple movies, there's not a whole lot to say. I mean, you get, but with these ones in particular, again, for some reason, it just feels even a little bit less to latch onto, and it's just, I don't know, it's just very strange with this franchise. And it's just
Hmm.
like, especially just such lack of inconsistency in between. Like I said, you
Lack
could,
of consistency. Yeah, it's crazy.
yeah, like say even Friday 13 as it went along, but like it was a slow evolution. You saw how each film, like, okay, where we left off, Jason's like this, and he shows up like this, shows up like this, blah blah
Yeah,
blah. But again, with this, it's just like it's like a soft reset each and every time, so you
yeah,
can't really grab a hold of like what to think of it as a whole. You just have to take each film as its own thing and just been like, well, as far as like this variation, I'm like, it's fine, I guess. It's
yeah.
just it is what
We're
it is.
taking each movie as it comes, like it's its own thing. There's no, yeah, there's no tether except for the name and obviously the one character Leatherface. So we're
Yep.
just gonna sit and we'll watch the next one. And okay, it's its own movie. Let's see what happens. And yeah,
Yeah, and
that's really
again,
it.
after just watching, I'm like, well, that happened. That happened.
Yeah,
It
basically,
happened.
that's it.
Yeah, I mean, and so I'm like I said, I'm very curious to see this next one because again, supposedly this is the worst in the franchise as a whole. Supposedly it's batshit and like another couple of like well-known names at this point in time. So yeah, I'm very curious to see going into this one and just how that
Yeah,
all goes. But yeah, so we'll just leave it at that. I'll give it like a like a 2.5, I guess. Like I said again, it's just even though I
yeah. I'd go
probably
at least about a 3 at the most.
even though overall I might like it slightly more than two to some extent. I mean, it's like again half and half. Where like half of the movie I liked, half I didn't. And again, this one has elements within it to where it elevates a bit more. But because even though this one's considered to be, like I said, pretty low, even below two, but like I said, it's just an average, like kind of like slasher film. It's not terrible, but it was just the
No.
characters though, like within it, that just helped make it a little bit more than what you actually got, as a whole. So
Yeah.
I'm right there, probably 2.5 as overall. So that'll do it for our review of Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. We'll be moving on to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation, whatever that means, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.